Now, Wickford may be one of the most charming coastal communities in Rhode Island, but I have seen relocation buyers fall in love with it and completely underestimate what it actually takes to buy a property here in Wickford. From septic systems to historic districts, flood insurance, super high competition, and limited inventory, there are things that you need to understand before you jump into the market. So today, I'm talking about whether Wickford is still a smart move in 2026 and what buyers absolutely cannot overlook. Hey there, I'm Jess Powers. I'm a Rhode Island real estate agent and I am a relocation expert. Now, I moved here myself many years ago, and I know what it's like to try to figure out all of these little coastal pockets when you're not even from here. I help buyers figure out not just what's pretty, what's charming, what's lovely, but also what actually is going to work long-term for you. So let's talk Wickford. Now, I do want to point out, I did a full video tour of Wickford back in 2022 on my channel, and most of what I said about why people love it, and that all still holds up, but what has changed is the market. You've got to understand where the market is now before you jump in. So I want to break that down for you. So first, let's talk the geography, because Rhode Island can be confusing. So Wickford Village is not actually even a town. It's a historic waterfront section of North Kingstown. Now that means your taxes are in North Kingstown, your schools are in North Kingstown, your municipal services are in North Kingstown. So Wickford Village, what we actually consider the village itself, is very small, and that means inventory inside that historic waterfront footprint is extremely limited. Now, if you expand even about 5 or 10 minutes outside of the village center, you are still in North Kingstown, but your price point and your options, well, those open up significantly. So we want to talk through that. Do you actually need to live right inside Wickford, or do you just want the proximity and be able to have it close by? It kind of comes down to walkability. So from Wickford, you're about roughly 35 minutes to Providence. You've got 20 minutes to TF Green Airport. You're about 10 minutes to Wickford Junction, where you can jump on the train and head to Boston. And you're about 20 minutes to Newport. You also have easy access to Route 4, which connects north towards Providence and south to South County. That means you get to the beaches. So it really is close to everything. That's one of the great things about it. You've got this coastal vibe without Newport chaos. You've got access to beaches, beautiful boating and sailing, wonderful marinas. It's very charming. But here's the thing. Like I said, you've got very tight inventory, which means you've got very high prices. There's also no nightlife scene. So if you're looking for someplace that's vibrant in the evening, it's not really that vibe. Now, I think spring and summer here is where it really thrives. You've got beautiful, gorgeous gardens, you've got the harbor view, you've got amazing architecture. It's got that storybook New England seaside thing going on that people love. When my mom visits, she insists on lunch. We love to go to Wickford on the Water. She gets her lobster roll, or we'll go over to Shayna's. It's great for an afternoon stroll. It's the perfect spot for a day trip. Wickford is also deeply tied to boating culture. Wickford offers a deep water mooring. That's perfect for sailors. And it is such an easy sail into Newport. And even if you just stay in the harbor, you've got glorious sunsets. Wickford is quaint, it's charming. People move here because they want it to stay the way it is. But it also means it's a little sleepy. So if you're looking for that, like I said, that vibrant nightlife scene, this isn't the place, and deliberately so. You should check out East Greenwich. Now, it does get busy, it gets touristy, but again, that's kind of the daytime vibe. Yes, Wickford on the Water has a lovely little bar, but it does get packed. You've got to plan ahead. And you have to be mindful about whether or not Wickford feels like home, or if it just feels like a place you just want to check out now and then. Beaches are close, Newport's short drive away or boat ride away. But again, it is not about buzz. It's really about place, peace, the architecture, and that charming New England vibe. Now let's talk the nitty-gritty of the real estate market. All right, so because Wickford Village is a micro market inside the broader North Kingstown market, we've got to talk about a couple things. So first, let's look at the bigger picture. In 2025, North Kingstown's median sale price for the year for single family homes was $650,000. In 2024, the median was 627. North Kingstown is very popular. Average days on the market is right around 30. Inventory hovers right around a little under 2 months supply. So you should expect a strong seller's market no matter where you are looking in Rhode Island, especially high demand areas like the coastal communities. Okay, but what about inside of Wickford Village? That's what we're talking about. So extremely limited inventory, very few sales. Last year in MLS, there were only 4 single-family sales. 4. And sellers understand that scarcity and they're going to use it to their advantage. So if you want to buy inside that historic village footprint, you are typically looking at a significantly higher price point than the town-wide median, especially for anything that is walkable to the harbor or on waterfront. Typically, you're going to need to have a budget of around $800,000 and up. Those 4 single-family homes last year, one of them was a premium waterfront property with a dock. It was beautiful, and that sold for $3.6 million. Here's the thing, sellers in Wickford are going to work the low inventory to their advantage. That property that sold for 3.6 started at 4.5 million in March of last year and sold for 3.6 in August. Wickford is a niche market, and that means smart sellers aren't going to list below market value. They are going to list aspirationally, and they're going to wait for somebody to come along. They may be willing to reduce a little bit, but they're going to hang tight for quite a while. Now, I've got a few other things I want you to keep in mind. You really should get a local pre-approval if you're going to finance a property. Rhode Island is small. We like to work with the folks that we know. If you're coming in with an out-of-state lender that isn't familiar with our housing here, that may be a disadvantage for you. Now, of those sales last year, they all had cooperating brokerages, meaning the sellers had their own agent and the buyers had their own agent as well. Now, you've likely purchased properties before, maybe even without an agent, but a buyer's agent has all of your interests in mind as well as works to make sure that you're protected and you're informed. This isn't the place to go it alone. Wickford isn't a let's wait for a deal market. It's a patience and preparation type of market. Now, here's something that other YouTube videos about Wickford have skipped over. Not only is Wickford's housing stock old, which is most of Rhode Island in fact, but that also presents its own challenges, but there are other considerations you've got to understand in this local market. So septic versus sewer, that's one thing I want to go over with you. Many properties in Wickford are still on septic systems. Now, the town expanded the sewer lines between 2013 and 2018, and that absolutely impacted property values. This was a time period when I actually had a real estate office in Wickford, and I remember when nobody really wanted to buy properties here. So they tied in the commercial properties and then also some of the homes into those sewer lines. Some residents paid upwards of $35,000 to tie in. Some folks still have to tie in, and others remain on septic. That depends on the location. So this is going to affect your inspection process. It may affect the replacement cost or the tie-in cost. It may affect your value. We've got to verify this. I know the questions to ask and I know where to find the answers. It is not the seller's agent's job to provide answers to questions that you don't even know you should be asking. What about flood zones and coastal insurance? We're close to the harbor. We may even be right in the harbor or bordering it. So we've got to review the flood maps. We've got to review, does the seller have elevation certificates? What are the insurance costs? Does the seller currently have a mortgage? And if so, can we get a copy and get an estimate of what they're paying? But we're also going to get quotes as well. Not every property in Wickford is high risk, but coastal buying requires analysis. You don't assume, you verify. The historic district guidelines in Wickford are also incredibly important that you understand. You've got to understand where that is and those overlays. Part of it falls within the historic district, and that means exterior changes may require approval. That means if you're doing window replacements or additions or changing the siding, it's not always simple, not always allowed. Renovation timelines, they might be a lot longer because you have to get those approvals, and they're certainly going to be more expensive. That charm that everybody loves, well, it's protected, but you need to understand the rules and the limitations before you buy. So I've noticed that Wickford is a great fit for folks that value charm and walkability over the square footage. Those folks that are comfortable with older homes and maintenance and the stewardship that requires. For somebody that wants coastal access without that Newport level tourism. For folks that understand that inventory is limited and the pricing is reflected in that. But it is not a good fit if you want brand new construction, or if you need a nightlife and lots of energy and lots of restaurants and bars, or if you want multiple options to compare before deciding. Most buyers here, they're either lifestyle-driven locals. They've had their eye on a particular street or a particular property and they're just willing to wait for it to come around, or intentional out-of-state buyers that are targeting the specific coastal vibe, especially those that have sailboats. So the level of strategy that's required to buy here has changed over the past 5 years. It is obviously beautiful, it is charming, and that means it's desirable. So I need you to understand the septic, the sewer, the flood insurance, the historic districts, the inventory. And if you're someone that's trying to figure out whether or not Wickford or even another Rhode Island town is the right fit for you, well, then that's where I come in. Reach out. And I would encourage you to check out other videos on this YouTube page. Even if they're a little on the older side, a lot of things will still be relevant. Just the market data, that's going to be different. But I can help you to understand that. Now, I'm Jess Powers, and I'll see you on the next one.